Good evening. Welcome to If You Don't Like That. It's the Kings and it's the Bucks. It's a huge game for the Kings. Keegan Murray, he is a no-go tonight. We will get you all updated on his injury situation and what Mike Brown plans to do. Want to get a bunch of your comments in and just talk about this matchup with the Bucks because the Kings, although the record doesn't show it, the Kings have played the Bucks pretty well this year. So we'll get into all of that. Welcome to the pregame show on If You Don't Like That.
2, 1, go.
Sacramento miscue. Carter, stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball. Fox, goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa. Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Foley. That is a major league smush.
Hey, welcome back into If You Don't Like That. We're here for you all night tonight with Kings and Bucks coverage. Jerry Reynolds at halftime. Looking forward to that. And after the game, open phones. Grant will be here. This is how the teams match up right there for you. The Bucks do a lot of things really well. They will be without Chris Middleton tonight. That is notable. But the Kings without their defensive stopper, Keegan Murray, he's out with an ankle sprain. He went through shoot around and then he got some extra work in. Just wasn't going to happen tonight. So no Keegan. Mike Brown, mum, in a pregame press conference, not tipping his hand on who will get the start. So we're paying close attention. Probably will break during this show. So if you see it before I do, throw it in the chat. I'm guessing probably Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles would be my guess. And it still brings up the big question. And I talked about it earlier today. Who's going to guard Giannis, right? Because when it comes to the Bucks and it comes to players like him that are just different, that are freaks, that can play inside, outside, you get it. He's a mega star in this league. Sorry, LA Knight. But anyways, Giannis, who's going to get him? Is it going to be Sabonis? Is it going to be Barnes? Is it going to be Lyles? So I'm really interested to see what Mike Brown does because he's going to need somebody to step up tonight. Let's get to your comments. You guys can call the show. You can get your comments in writing. I want to get to as many as those as I can tonight. And yeah, love having you on here. Yo, first text, chat, first like. Thanks, David. First chat, first like. Well done, buddy. Mark. Hello, Mark Scott. How are you, Mark Scott? What's going on, buddy? Adam. The unpredictable Kings back at it tonight will probably win by 30. If I had to bet this team, and it's funny, I actually had somebody from Vegas, one of my friends, call me and say, I'm thinking about putting a bet on the game. I said, I can't talk to you. But I would bet the Kings in this one too. This is where the Kings typically show up. They're coming off of a loss, right? Coming off of a bad loss to Houston, and then it's a back-to-back. Now, here's the problem, and I get a lot of you are going to disagree with me here. Totally fine if you do. This is the game the Kings have to get because tomorrow night, all bets are off. And the reason I say all bets are off is because the Lakers last game were pissed. It was national news. The Lakers had that game circled is like, this is when we start our run. This is where we go get the 6th seed. And it didn't happen. So you're going to have a LA team coming in here that's going to be ready to play. You're also going to have a building that's going to be split to a degree. Always is for a Lakers game. And you got LeBron James. And do you have Keegan Murray? Do you have Keegan? Is this a move to kind of get him right for tomorrow? Because it's not arguably tomorrow, is the bigger of the two games. It's a full game in the standings between the Kings and the Lakers in the loss column tomorrow. So if you had to pick one win out of the two, you're picking the Lakers game. But realistically, with this Kings team, it's got to be tonight. It absolutely has to be tonight, in my opinion. And again, no Chris Middleton tonight for Milwaukee. That's important. No Keegan Murray for Sacramento. Just as important. What will Mike Brown do for the starting lineup? Pregame press conference, he was very mum, not giving us any indication on how he's going to go. Remember in the past, he's moved some people around. I think Trey has started a little bit. I think he has. Help me out in the chat. And I know Chris Duarte has been thrown in there from time to time, and that's more of a 2-3. But depending on if you're going to go small, if you're going to go zone, which the Kings are going to have to do both tonight. And with the zone, it comes down to one thing, and it's not 3-point shooting. It's 100% not letting Giannis get into the middle of the zone. If you let Giannis get into the middle of the zone, you're going to have problems. He is a perfect player to break a zone from the middle. Frog, what is up? The Bucks are fairly banged up. Yes, they are. Last time went to overtime. I like the Kings' chances. Also, go Gonzaga. All right, it's throwing some Gonzaga love out there. Yeah, I'm with you. They are banged up. Now, they're playing decent basketball. Their last 5 games wouldn't necessarily tell you that, or their last 4, I should say. They're 2-2, but they just recently beat the Clippers, excuse me. The Clippers, it was a good game. It was a prototypical Milwaukee game. You had Giannis and Dame who went off. You got to think too, one of the keys tonight, and again, goes without saying, but you can't let both of those guys go off, and you certainly cannot let a supporting guy go off. And then if you guys had a chance already, thank you. If you've already checked out the Kings Court. If you haven't, I talked about a shocking stat from the free throw line this year today on today's episode, and it's nothing that's going to be corrected in terms of that stat this season. Gone. Now, could the Kings improve on it down the stretch? Certainly. And could they be better in the playoffs because of it? Maybe. Because to me, the Kings are kind of like that 12 seed, right? In the NCAA tournament. I know March is coming up. If they get into the dance, I think they can make some noise if the good version of the Kings shows up. But Frog, yeah, I'm with you. I think the good Kings show up today. David LeBron, though, dealing with leg soreness, ongoing injury. So if we push him hard and he has to carry his team, we'll overwhelm. You know what? I'm not going to bet on that, David. Here's why. You've beat him 7 of the last 8 times. So if it wasn't LeBron, then okay, maybe. But it's LeBron. You don't think LeBron is in AD's ear? Hey, AD. did you see you never beat Sabonis one-on-one? Did you see that? They're going to be ready, David. I don't care if LeBron is banged up or not. They're going to be ready to go. We talked a little bit earlier about the Milwaukee Bucks and what they do well. We're still awaiting word about who is going into the starting lineup. I am monitoring that closely. Again, if you guys see anything, put it in the chat. I've got my iPad here, and I'm looking. But Milwaukee, turnovers. They value the basketball. They're 6th in the NBA in turnovers. So the Kings, it goes back to when they had success against Houston, when they've had success this year defensively. To me, the success is spurred on or started on. Thanks, John. Appreciate that, brother. Thanks for the support there. But that's spurred by the Kings pushing teams out defensively. They're making teams start their offense further out. When the Kings do that, they're able to get into passing lanes. So if they can do that tonight a little bit with Milwaukee, maybe they can force a few more turnovers, and the Kings certainly have to capitalize on turnovers. Another thing, rebounding. Milwaukee, number two in the NBA. In defensive rebounding, got to keep them off the boards. They do everything well. They're really in the top third of the NBA in everything they do. So, John, he's saying that it should be Trey that starts. I know I missed that part of it, by the way. I only mentioned the podcast, but yeah, I'm with you. I think it's Trey. And then here's the other thing. Malik Monk. I know there's a lot being made about, should Malik have gone into the starting lineup when De'Aaron was out? Should Mike Brown be more aggressive with his rotations with Malik? Malik's on the floor most games at the end of the game, but I think Mike Brown needs to be quicker in the third quarter to get Malik in and get the bench in if the starters are struggling. That is one thing consistently that I'm seeing is a failure to adjust to how the team comes out from the half. So I would like to see Malik tonight be right off the bench in the first couple minutes if things are not going well for the Kings. But first, the Kings have to come out and play well in the first half to even talk about the third quarter. Part of that, I'm going to jump back again to the Houston game. Although they were bad for 3 or 4 quarters, that first quarter, they played beautifully. You can't deny it. Everybody was touching the ball. Everything was towards the rim. When the Kings do that, the Kings are better. And if the Kings can do that tonight against Milwaukee, because Milwaukee's physical, the Kings are going to have to meet Milwaukee's level of physicality. You remember last year in the same building, the G1C, end of the game, the little, whatever you want to call it, scuffle, shakedown between Trey Lyles and Giannis. So these teams, they know each other. And if you don't think the Kings have a little revenge on their mind tonight after blowing that lead in Milwaukee on January 14th, you're crazy. Scuba, what up, man? Ryan, I give you props for getting up for the game, and I'll watch halftime and after the game. Appreciate it. But we know the team will get is 50-50. Probably a good team tonight. Yes, I'm with you. The numbers again show that you will get a good performance tonight. Excel, welcome to the party. Let's get consistent by snapping this losing streak against the Bucks. Yeah, it dates back. What is it? 2014, 2016? I think it dates back to. Good point. Maybe coach goes small ball to start. He might, Adam. I think coach is at the point. When you listen to what Coach Brown has been saying the last week and a half, if he had the guys on the bench to have some bark behind his bite, I guess, or have some bite behind his bark, excuse me. I think he would be shaking the rotations up a little bit more than he has this year, but I don't think he's had those options to be able to be a little bit more aggressive. But in a game like this, where you've got Keegan out, I know Sasha, for those that don't know, Sasha Vezenkov, he's been back in the building. He's been getting some shots up. There's some video on X of him doing so. So how far out is he? You'll have to stay tuned, but Mike Brown doesn't have him. But tonight, that's where I think he's just going to throw whatever he has against the wall to see what sticks. And when it does, you got to hammer it until it doesn't work anymore. And maybe that's what you do. You try to run them out of the building. You try to go small. What I do know is you don't want to get into a 3-point shooting contest. That is a big problem if you're Sacramento, because Milwaukee is 8th in the NBA in 3-point percentage. So not going to bode well. You remember Houston? Not a very good 3-point shooting team. One of the guys for Houston was shooting under 20% on the season. Under 20%. And he makes a 3 last game. Can't make this stuff up. You really can't. And really quick, the stat I was talking about that I don't think I've heard from anybody yet this season. I know a lot of people have talked about the free throw percentage, but what about the free throw attempts? So check this out. Last year, the Kings made 1,624 free throws on the season. I don't know if that includes the playoffs. Let's say it does, okay? we'll say it includes the playoffs for sake of argument. So last year, the Kings made 1,624 free throws. This year, the Kings have only attempted 1,331 free throws. Look at that gap. That is a lot of points. I mean, when I was in college, our coach preached that you got to take more than the other team makes. Think about this. The Kings made more free throws last year, than they have attempted this year by a large margin, almost 300. So the Kings, still some season left, right? We've got this stretch run. I would be shocked if the Kings' free throw attempts in the regular season equal their free throw makes from last season. That's nuts. And it's not just the points, right? It's also what comes along with, going to the foul line. It slows the game down a little bit, gives you a breather. I get you get the breather if the other team's at the line, but it also gives you a chance to huddle up, gives you a chance to go talk to coach if you're the point guard, and just kind of regroup for a second. Maybe forget the last play, let it go and start thinking about the next one. Whatever it may be, it gives them just that brief second. And the runs that have affected the Kings negatively this year, like Houston last game, 45-19, when they're in the midst of one of those runs, it's like the team freezes. It's like no adjustments are made, no subs are made. It's weird. It's really, really weird. And so what do you do to break that up? Getting to the free throw line it's the simple things that can almost be the big things. And you look at the simple things that this team does, they struggle with them sometimes. So when they're firing on all cylinders, they're getting 27, 30 attempts at the free throw line. And don't tell me that the refs are the reason for that, because they're not. The refs have been bad across the league this year. Period. End of story. Okay. Every team has had to deal with it. The problem is the Kings are not capitalizing on the mid-range. They're not. They are the last time I checked, I will check, in fact, right now. Let's get some fresh updated stats for you guys just this year. The Kings this year, check this out. 2-pointers in the NBA this year, they were fourth. They are still fourth in 2-point percentage. Fourth in 2-point percentage, yet 25th in 2-point attempts. Most of your foul shots, you're getting those from inside the 3-point line. You don't see many, maybe 2, maybe 3 whistles for fouls with 3-pointers, maybe. So if they're not doing it, then that's going to be a huge issue. So I would love to get your guys' reaction on all of that. We will get to that in just 1 second. But hey, it is not just the stretch run of the season right now for the Kings, but it is also the start of brunch season. You know what that means. Sunday, hanging out on a nice patio, maybe having a mimosa, sharing a few plates. Yeah, go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Check out their weekend brunch menus. It is delicious and it's affordable. 2 entrees, bottle of champagne, $44. Can't really beat that. Can't. So, hey, Bennett's, we love them. We love hearing how much you enjoy them, and we can't thank them enough for being a sponsor here on the pregame show. That is Bennett's Westside Grill in Rockland. All right, let's get back to some of your comments. I know I hit you with a lot of information there. We were talking about the starters. We're talking about Sasha and some other things. And then the free throw shooting. You'd rather see Ellis. Interesting. Scuba, if we lose tonight, do we go from 7 to 8? I'm not sure, Scuba. I will look. Sasha hasn't even gotten a chance to mesh. I agree. Well, good point. It's too late in the season. So, Walt, to me, Sasha is your Terrence Davis this year. They're not the same player. They're not even close to the same player, but they're the same in this sense. They can be instant offense. And maybe Walt, Mike Brown in the playoffs, Sasha is that break in case of emergency guy. And I'm going to interrupt my take because the Kings starting lineup looks like it has been announced. And Adam, I think you, my friend, were spot on. That is going to be Keon Ellis in the starting lineup tonight. Trying to run this back if it allows me. It is not, but it looks like Keon is going to get the start. So the Kings are going to go small. What do you guys think about that? Let me know if you guys see that as well. Alberto, what's up? Welcome to the show. It's crazy. We're deep into the season and still trying to figure out our lineup. Yep. I'm with you, my friend. I'm with you. But yeah, getting back to your point, Walt, I think Sasha, emergency, break the glass, throw him in the playoff game if you need him. Last ditch effort. Let's see. It's crazy. We're deep. Yes, sir. Excel. Going back with Scuba. Carf, what's up? Come on, late, but hopefully Kings offense doesn't arrive late. Need a good start and strong finish. Yep, and everything in between from this team. If this team's going to win this game tonight, they need to win 3 of the 4 quarters because Milwaukee is good enough to lose 3 of the 4 quarters and still win the game. The Kings are not. So the Kings have to dominate 3 of the 4, if not 4 of the 4. That's a tall task, but I think they can do it and get Giannis into foul trouble. I think you could, and I have some ideas how, but I want to get to more of your guys'. Sasha experiment was a flop. Walt, it's just started. How can we say it's a flop? The guy's been here for 1 year. 1 year, Walt. You can't. So Grant was super, super outspoken about this. He spoke to scouts before the season, and his take on Sasha was dead on, spot on, actually. So maybe the expectations were a flop. I think maybe the expectations, not Sasha, but I could be wrong. Speaking of Grant, thank you to all of you who have subscribed to Grant's YouTube channel. Just hit 7,000 not too long ago. If you haven't subscribed, hit that QR code or take a picture of that. Subscribe there for exclusive shows, rants, and much more. And then do me a favor. Go search the King's Court with Ryan and Sacktown on any of your podcast platforms. It is your daily Kings Insider podcast, short form, get you out in about 10, 15 minutes. There's some really good stuff there, and we've got some fun guests coming up this week. Damon Bruce joining me on Thursday. We're going to talk Warriors, we're going to talk Kings, and we're going to talk Western Conference playoffs. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So please subscribe to the King's Court if you don't mind. All right, let's get all of you back in here before time runs out on us here on the pregame show. And I appreciate all 208 of you showing up. And if you're listening after the fact, thank you so much as well. Let's see. That's an interesting fact, Ryno. Ryno's Nito stat of the night. Yeah, you think I could get a sponsor before Ernie? I love Ernie Johnson. He's so cool. Philip, what's up, man? Let's play 4 strong at home, and we should come away with a dub. I think so, too. I think you're going to see the best of the Kings tonight. Everything lines up that way. It really does. And what would the excuse be if you don't? And if you don't tonight, when is it going to stop? The Lakers tomorrow? Then you've got the Knicks. Brutal. The Kings got to get this one tonight. I said it at the top. Tomorrow's is more important. Today's is more winnable. It's the only way that I see it right now. Give me your takes on that as well. Tony, welcome to the show. Sounds cliche, but every freaking game is so important from here on out. It is, Tony. And the problem is they've put themselves in this position. I mean, some of the other teams that are in that group vying for the 6 through 10 seeds, I don't think they can look back at their season the same way the Kings are going to look back at theirs. I mean, the Kings are 17 and 12, 17 and 12 on their home court. Whew. That's not good. That is not good at all. Walt hopping back in. He wants Metu and Davis back. I do not want Davis back. No chance. Refs are 100% not the Kings' issue. They just want to chuck up threes. Yeah, and Scuba, here's the other thing, dude. Their decision making at times, their decision making in the biggest moments is its worst. It's when they start turning the ball over. It's when they get shot clock violations. It's when, shoot, you could name so many different things that have happened this season in those situations. And they choke. But chucking up threes to me is the biggest culprit this season. A close second would be shot selection by players. I think I know Mike Brown preaches the open offense. Everybody has a green light. But when Keegan Murray, and I love Keegan is going to be missed tonight. We'll see what the Kings do tonight. Again, on defense, no Keegan Murray tonight, who will be guarding Giannis. But Keegan's defense this year has been tremendous, absolutely tremendous. So it's going to be big shoes to fill tonight for Mr. Murray. Unfortunately, we don't have him. What is up, Philip? The refs will favor Giannis tonight. I'm sure the free throw attempts will be lopsided to the Bucks. They should be. Well, see now, Philip, that's where you have to draw the line. You can't expect the Kings, strictly because of the way they play, you can't expect them to shoot free throws at the same clip Milwaukee plays. They're different teams. Now, if the Kings don't get up to at least their season average in free throw attempts per game, that's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. I mean, the best thing that could happen tonight is the Kings getting Giannis in foul trouble. And I actually think that's really possible. When I've watched some of the Bucks, ever since they traded away Drew Holiday, that was a huge mistake. Huge. And I get Dame brings a different element to their team, but you lose the intangibles to me, those things that don't show up on the stat sheets. Well, Drew Holiday, he brought that. He brought that to, he was the 50-50 guy, right? Mike Brown always talks about the 50-50 balls. Well, you see what Boston's doing with him now. Well, because of that change, Milwaukee's defense has been poor this year. It really has. And I know Doc Rivers hoping to get that turned around to a degree. And I know that Milwaukee's coach that was fired, he kind of got a raw deal to a degree. I know he wasn't getting along with the players reportedly, but he also, right after he agreed to be the head coach, had Drew Holiday traded right out from underneath him. But the point I was trying to make about Giannis is just this. They're not very good at switching. So if I'm De'Aaron Fox, if I'm Mike Brown, I am pressing the Bucks offensively on pressure. Like if I'm on offense, just like in the first quarter, everything's to the hoop, because then you can get Milwaukee a little bit off balance. Because when the Kings are cutting backdoor, they're a pain in the ass to guard. They really are. If they do that, then Milwaukee will be off balance. If Milwaukee's off balance, Domas can easily draw a foul. Fox can draw a foul. Now, I get that's a slippery slope with the Kings because there's been a little bit too much chirping at times this year. And sometimes mentally that might take them out of it. But I'm telling you, get Giannis in foul trouble. I think you can do it. I really can. You just have to be smart about it. Appreciate it, Excel. Thank you very much for listening to it. Wanted to make it something different, and I think it is. And you guys get some good information. Yes, W. Hey, let's go. It's kind of a weird one, Adam, for like your 5th or 6th comment. Hey, let's go. Good. Love everybody saying we shall see. Milwaukee is a good team. Yes. Yeah, I'm feeling you guys. I love all these comments. I think, again, I think the Kings have a very good shot tonight to get this one. Do you think Fox thinks we need another all-star caliber player? Um, Good question. Man, Walt, I could probably do an entire podcast on that. Uh, I don't know. I think De'Aaron Fox maybe thinks this team needs something, but I don't know it's a star player. But take that for what it's worth. My pleasure, Scuba, because I know a Scooter too. So sometimes I mix the two of y'all up, but I appreciate all you guys for being here. Yes, you are right, Peter. Indeed, that's Peter, the winner of our fantasy pool for football. But yeah, no Chris Middleton, and that's why, again, no Chris Middleton. That's why I think attacking the mid range is really smart. And that takes away a little bit of mid range for, because if I'm the Bucks, there's two guys that I'm putting in the middle of a zone. If the Kings run zone defense, which I expect they will tonight, I would expect a heavy dose of it, actually. But there's two guys you put in the middle, Giannis or Chris Middleton. Middleton is out tonight. Giannis obviously in, but maybe the Kings can devise a way to keep that ball out of the middle. Hey, thank you guys so much for being here. Do not forget, at halftime, Jerry Reynolds will be right here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Always is with him on. And then Grant and I will wrap up the show, or wrap up the game, I should say, later tonight. And we will open up the phones for all of you. Hey, I appreciate all of your comments. You guys are really some of the smartest fans in the NBA. You really are. I've had the pleasure this season of going on in other markets and talking about the Kings and, getting to do some of that cool stuff. And talking with you guys makes me feel like I'm talking to somebody that is involved with the team, that knows the team. You guys know your stats. You guys know your rotations. You know your splits. I freaking love it. Keep bringing it. We will see you at halftime. Thank you so much for being here. So long.